Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd, a podcast all about getting shit done, hopefully in an elegant way that doesn't leave you too broken. In our crazy worlds, we're all about balancing the need to work enough to make ends meet, enough not to annoy our bosses, but also enough that we feel like we've done enough, which can be a whole different psychological and emotional ballgame, along with the human need to rest and stay well. Plus, on top of that, we'd quite like to enjoy ourselves, maybe just a little bit along the way, spending quality time with those we love. I, for one, love hearing about how people get that balance and work more efficiently so they have more time to do the things that they love. Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd. I'm Kathy Soulsby, and today I'm joined by my colleague and the general voice of reason that is Claire Ennion. Now, you might be listening to us on your podcast platform of choice, but did you know you can actually see us not in real life, but like on video on YouTube? Yeah, we have a Productivity Nerd YouTube channel where many of the episodes we do are both audio and video. I'm not sure you're actually missing a wild amount in terms of visuals. I know some people prefer visuals. I've yet to do a show and tell of planners. I can't promise I won't do that, right? You know me and planners. It's not happened yet. But mostly it's us chatting. There's probably quite a lot of eye rolling, if I'm honest, especially this episode. But if you fancied checking out the YouTube channel, we'd love a follow. It would make us very, very happy. So today, let's start with a quote from the book. You can't get more time in your life, but you can put more life in your time. Today, we are looking at Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And if you're a business owner who feels like you're drowning, you're probably going to feel a bit of pain with this one, if I'm honest, but in a good way. He's absorbed a lot of good stuff from elsewhere, added in some maths, some fairly harsh home truths, but it's a decent read. And if you are not a business owner, you are just, a normal human, I think you'll still find some stuff in here that is quite worth a read. Everybody can learn something from it, I think. Shall we crack on? Let's do it. Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd. I'm Kathy Soulsby and I'm joined today by my friend and colleague Claire Ennion. Hi Claire.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Today, yeah, cold, chilly.
It is. It's blowing a gale, but you can't believe it's May.
No. I put all my winter jumpers away as well, which I'm regretting, but never mind.
Yeah, the blankets are back out.
A hot water bottle last night. It's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah, I am basically a chilly person. So
I thought you were going to say basically I am a granny.
Well, there's that too,
Sorry.
particularly with the whole glasses and the hair up and the cardigan. Yeah, exactly. It's not rocking.
That's not a good start. I'm sorry. Right.
So rude. So rude. But today we are talking about a book by Dan Martell, which is called Buy Back Your Time, Get Unstuck, Reclaim Your Freedom and Build Your Empire, or for short, Buy Back Your Time. So Dan is a Canadian entrepreneur. He's an investor and a business coach, and he's founded and sold several software as a service companies. So he now coaches software founders through his kind of business growth program, and he's kind of known for his high energy, his systems first approach to scaling, and he's an interesting guy actually because he's very open in the book about his journey to entrepreneurship. He was in prison in his youth and had addictions and really was in a very, very bad place. So interesting backstory. He also pulls on a lot of our tried and tested productivity folk, right? That we've seen before, all the big guns, Stephen Covey, James Clear, and so on. He read a lot because his first business, basically, it was great. He made loads of money, and then he just burnt out like wildly. And then the same thing happened again. He's a bit like, something's not right here. So he's done a lot of research on how to actually manage a business when you are the owner founder. And he's really clear that actually none of this is about business efficiency. It's more about designing a life that you want, that works with, really. So starting with, sorry, I said that really depressedly, didn't I? So, God, I did enjoy the book. I don't know why, I kept finding excuses not to listen to it. And then when I put it on, I'll be like, oh, I don't know why I didn't want to listen to this. It's really good. It's fine. It's quite good. Quite
Is it the
enjoyable.
sound of his voice that's not got momentum or
No, not at all. No, I just a mental
no
block, I think.
reason?
No reason. Yeah, just me being contrary. But in summary, he talks about the buyback principle, which is his core argument. That is, you shouldn't hire people to grow your business. You should hire to buy back your time. So the goal is to remove from your working life any tasks that drain you, and so you can focus on all the ones that only you can do. Or, as we say in Personally Virtual, outsource everything but your brilliance,
Yeah,
right? Same difference.
same
So he
difference.
talks about the buyback rate, like what your time is actually worth. And again, this feels like a lot of my LinkedIn posts. And he challenges the reader to stop treating their hours as free and never ending, because that's actually not the realistic. They're not, are they?
No.
No.
Well, I could easily say this is how our relationship works because I'm taking on more stuff, so you've got more
Yeah.
time to focus in other areas.
Yeah, because I looked at what I was doing and went,
Yeah,
there's a lot of things here that I don't necessarily need to do.
yeah.
I might enjoy doing them. Um, but he talks about so there's kind of two reasons to delegate tasks. One is energy related and the other is kind of finance related.
Hmm.
So we'll get to that a bit later about how you also, because it's really easy when you end up in a management position. I think of teachers, for example, right? Teachers, a really brilliant teacher, if they're amazing, they're going to get promoted. And then they end up being head of English or head of science or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're doing less teaching, they've got more paperwork. And then they get promoted to deputy head and they've got even less teaching and even more
Mm.
paperwork. And all of a sudden they're a headmaster or headmistress. And now they're doing no teaching. And that's the thing that they were brilliant at. So it's kind of all, if they're happy to progress and they want to progress and they want to do that, how do they make sure that they're still keeping the joy of the thing that they actually wanted to do in the
That they
first
went
place?
into, yeah, exactly.
Because same with entrepreneurs, right? You get into, so he's a code writer and he really misses and knows that he is brilliant at writing code, but it's not appropriate for him to sit and write code all day because that's not his job anymore as CEO. So you have to work out how that balances because you don't want a job where everything you do is going to drain you and make you miserable.
Oh God, no.
No,
Especially when you're
exactly.
the boss.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. So he talks about the buyback loop. There's lots of good catchphrases in this book, I'll tell you now. Buyback loop, which is where most entrepreneurs kind of hit this ceiling, not because of the market or the product they've brought to market, but because they become a bottleneck in their businesses. So he
Hmm.
talks about this buyback loop where you audit your time, which is kind of what I've been doing recently, transfer tasks that you can if they're low value or you don't need to do them, and fill that time with high value work. And then you repeat it. So you get into your new pattern and then you audit again and you gradually lose those jobs that are
Okay.
less value for
Yeah.
doing it. And he uses a drip matrix to do this, which drip stands for delegate, replace, invest, or produce. So delegate, easy enough, right? Tasks that are low energy for you or low value or both. Someone else can and should do those. So that tends to be things like admin, managing your inbox, managing your diary. You're doing them out of habit or out of guilt, not because you should be. Then there's replace, which is a task that is higher value but still not the best use of your time. So that could be marketing or bookkeeping or certain client work. So it's got to be a skilled person that's got the right experience. You can't just get anyone to do it,
Oh,
but you're hiring for that particular role. Then you've got invest. So that's time spent on people and culture. So that's one-to-ones, mentoring your team, hiring well. This reminds me a bit of the Stephen Covey important quadrant, where you don't necessarily get any, it's not going to matter if you don't do it today or tomorrow, but if you never do it, like next week or the week after, all of a sudden things are going to fall by the wayside. So it's that kind
you're
of,
going to start realizing that
yeah.
you're doing too many things and they're getting dropped because
Yeah, and
you've
it's
not
the stuff,
delegated.
yeah, it's the stuff that is important but not urgent, making time to have a coffee with somebody in the office or remembering somebody's birthday or even going to the gym, right? That's time spent on long-term stuff that in the long term will make a difference, but you might not feel it today. And then produce, and that's the big one for him. That is the stuff you can only you can do, the strategy, the vision, key relationships with top clients, your zone of genius, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the rest of those, the dura protects the P, right? The P is your zone of genius, and that's where you should be spending most of your time if you're an entrepreneur or, ideally everybody. And most people spend too long in Delegate, doing stuff that other people could do. Ideally, you want to be in produce, that sort of high energy, high value work that is making an impact, basically. So none of this I don't think is particularly new.
No, I was about to say it isn't, and it's going back to that individual being able to delegate. A
Yeah.
lot of people find that really difficult because they
Yeah.
think I just can do it myself quicker.
Yeah, and we're going to get to this. He's got some quite nice techniques for delegation, actually, that I quite like.
Good.
He also has quite a gung-ho attitude to it, let's say. I kind of went "Ooh," a bit, but we'll get to that. Um, but when he's talking about his buyback rate, he actually does maths. Now, he basically talks you through working out what your rate per hour is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're an exec and somebody's paying you a salary, or if if it's your business and however much you take out of that business, basically there's a formula to work out what your actual hourly rate is. Now, and the rule of thumb is if somebody can do a task for you for less than a quarter of your hourly rate, then you shouldn't be doing it yourself, whatever that is. So that's what we're working towards. Now, I pretty much failed GCSE maths, right? So I struggled. I shouldn't have, but I did. And weirdly, I struggled more with the words than the numbers.
I did not know this, Kathy, and it surprises me because you are very academic.
Yeah, not mathematically
No,
academic.
of course, not now.
I can deal with zero. I did I got a D, so I didn't fail it. And second time around I did get a C. But yeah, it's not a strong suit for me for sure. I still use my fingers quite a lot when I'm adding stuff up. Um, but basically he works out you've got 2,000 working hours in a year. Like probably most people work more than that, especially if it's your business. But call it 2,000 hours, right? So if you earn £200,000 a year, you lucky bugger, then you divide that by 2,000. So that is £100 an hour. So £100 times four is 400. So basically anything you can outsource for less than £400 an hour, you should be outsourcing.
Outsourcing.
Yeah. And he talks
Makes
about,
sense.
well, yeah, kind of does. I mean, I do sort of despair when I talk to some people. They go, oh, yeah, I can do that. Oh, yeah, I can do that. It's like, yeah, but should you?
I
I know
was
you
going to say,
can.
and that's the question to people, isn't it? Should you be
Should
doing
you?
it?
Yeah. Should you be doing it, or should your energy be used for your actual job?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So he suggests that people spend 2 weeks tracking everything they do, categorize each task by whether it gives you energy or drains it, which is an interesting one, and whether it's high or low value to your business. And quite often people do that and they don't even get 2 weeks in, they just kind of go, oh, and the penny drops. Um, and when I wrote the How to Work with a VA book, I had a whole section on this because people do not realize what they do in a day. We do because we're timesheeting it
Mm.
relentlessly. So we're very good at knowing what we do in a day, but most normal people don't know what they do in a day. And conversations I quite often have with prospects, oh God, it takes me ages to do my expense receipts. And when you look at it, it's like 7 receipts for the month. And you're like, does it?
Sometimes people don't know where to start, so they take a while to ponder what the
Yeah.
task they're doing, and that's why they think it takes so long.
Yeah, and other tasks wildly go the other way
Mm.
and say, oh, it doesn't take me long to sort my diary out. And either they're doing it all day, every day in a drippy way, not drippy way,
Mm.
in a sort of drip feed way, and it's therefore interrupting their flow, but it doesn't feel like long. But if you added it all together and did it in one batch, it would be a lot. or they're just doing it really badly because they're not spending the time on it that they should. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. Um, so most people will discover when they do this that they are spending a lot of time doing low value draining work. So that sort of low financial value, and actually it's sucking
Must
the
be a
life out of you.
eureka moment. Yes, let's get
Yeah,
rid of this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and you've probably seen that when you've started supporting clients, they suddenly go, "Oh my God," I feel like a weight has been lifted because actually most of the people we support are not diary managers, therefore it probably doesn't give them the same joy it gives us.
I find probably when we on board with a new client, maybe week two, ending week two, three, it's oh my God, why didn't we do this sooner? Why didn't we bring in a VA team sooner? Because these last few weeks have just been brilliant. I've not had to, schedule meetings or do expenses or travel. I've been able to attend meetings, do following up notes, and just focus on what I need to do. So I
Yeah.
find that it's 2 or 3 weeks in, and people realise that they should have done it sooner.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back to that because he's got a thought about that as well. He's got lots of thoughts.
He's got lots of thoughts.
Most of them I appreciate, one or two, not so much. Um, and then he talks about the transfer of responsibility, so how to actually delegate without it going
Mm.
horribly wrong. So he talks about the replacement ladder. So you don't just like thrust tasks on people and hope for the best. You move through stages. So you kind of you do it and they watch. Then you do it with them. So you do it. Sorry, I've got all my words mixed up. So you do it to remind yourself how you do it. Then you do it with them watching, and then they do it with you watching, and then they do it and report back. So most delegation goes horribly wrong because people skip some steps and assume that other people are psychic and know what they
Mm.
mean when they describe things. So he also talks about the camcorder method, right? We don't really have camcorders these days, we have phones, but the principle is the same, right? So if you're documenting processes for a handover, you can just record yourself doing the task and narrate it. I love this. I do this on Loom all the time with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have for new
I'm going to
VAs.
pick this up now.
Oh, it's great. So Loom is like
Yeah.
a free extension on Chrome, and I'm sure other recording screeny things
Yes,
are
of
available,
course.
right?
Yep.
But you get like 3 minutes free, which is more than enough. So if I'm or if Helen is inducting a new VA, there's a video from way back when, because I only recorded it once and I've been using it for years,
Yeah.
which is how to record time on the timesheet. It's like where you click at for the client, you click hash for the project. This is the start button. This is the pause button. Don't use the pause button, use the stop button. And this is how you can see your goals. And yeah, really super quick video. And then people are actually seeing it in real time rather than it.
And then if they need to write notes, they can stop it and start it. And I
Yeah,
love this. I'm going to take this on board.
yes. Well, and we quite often, when you do a new client onboarding call, we quite often suggest recording that on
Yes,
Zoom
we do.
because there's so much information there. And also, we have so much tech these days. And I don't know about you. Have you ever done that thing on software where somebody shows you where the thing is on the software and you go, yep, yep, yep. And then you come to do it yourself and you go, I can't get to the menu
Are you
where that
suggesting
was.
I do this with ClickUp?
No, I was actually thinking about a client where we spent quite a lot of time trying to unravel an expenses system, and it transpired that the VA in question had the wrong settings. So
Oh,
they
okay.
couldn't actually act. But I mean, yes, probably same in
I
ClickUp,
did
right?
take a while to get used to ClickUp. So I should have recorded the session.
But there's something about, you can't find the menu and then you panic and you think, why
Yeah.
can't I? And if you go back to Zoom and you go right back to the beginning and you see what they click and you go, oh, well, I just don't have that thing, right? I mustn't be the right admin, or I've not been allocated that project, or whatever it is. And you can really quickly then go back to the client and go, look, I've just gone to do this. Could you make sure that I'm added to this project, or could you change the settings so
Yeah.
I can edit that, or whatever it may be. If you've got the recording in front of you, you can see it. If you're just trying to go on memory, you're just going to end up crying, going, "I'm
We're
so
and we
stupid."
we're all embedded in so many different
Yeah,
systems these days.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a
yeah,
good tip.
yeah. It certainly is. But no, little videos are great. And he calls them playbooks. We in PV we call them SOPs.
Hmm.
But a playbook could be one task, like, adding a new client to the CRM, or it could be a whole department like finance, which will include monthly reports and annual reports. It could be whatever. Um, so we've video I like for tasks. I don't think I'd want an entire work. You'd have to have multiple videos, wouldn't you, for more complex things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the
We do videos for training.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And the only thing I find frustrating about, so I took on a new client and there was a lot of information to take. So I recorded the Zoom and I am quite impatient. So I do kind of hate fast forwarding through to the one bit I need, which shows me the thing, because I do one task every quarter and by the time a quarter comes around, I've forgotten it. So I have to rewatch the video and I've
You
now
not
written
clip
down.
it now. Now you know where it is.
Yeah, I've written down the
Yeah.
time, so I just go in and just refresh myself. But yeah, but it would have been better in retrospect to do 3 or 4 quick
Mm.
videos with a label saying this is how you do this bit, this is how you do that bit, because then it would have been a quicker, more useful reference point, I guess.
Yeah.
But lesson learnt, break it down into smaller chunks. So one of the thinks. So our lovely clients, once we've started managing their diaries, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing. What are we going to do?" The important thing once you've got that time back is to actually use it properly
Mhm.
for something useful and not just let it fill up with stuff, because that's always a risk, right?
Absolutely. You get pulled into all sorts.
Yes. Well, and random faffing expands to fill the time available, right?
Yeah.
It does in my world anyway. If I don't have a plan, I'll get to 10 o'clock and be like, have I done anything? Not really. I should have.
You're talking to the wrong person. You know I'm not like
I know.
that.
Well, and neither am I most of the time, but only because I have a plan. The minute I don't have a plan or I veer off the plan, stuff doesn't get done. So, yeah, exactly. So he has a 10 by 10 vision exercise, which is kind of a like a strategy thing to think about, where is the business going? What am I doing? What does my life look like? What do I need to fill this time with? I was going to go and do this, and every time I tried, I ended up in some vortex of a YouTube video where he seemed to sell the 10 by 10 vision for 15 minutes. And at no point could I ever find out what it was. So I kind of lost the plot and gave up, I'm afraid. Sorry, Dan. I tried. So I didn't delve any further into what that is, but that is basically how you fill your time. And then there's something that we both are going to wildly go, good man, Dan. Perfect week. Designing your ideal week. Starting with your vision, what you need to achieve, booking time for your highest leverage work before any other stuff gets
Love
to fill
it.
the gaps. And he describes, and time blocking, obviously,
Yeah.
love time blocking, love an ideal week. We've done several podcasts on both of those, I
Have,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's never going to be real life, but it's an aim, right? It's something to start with.
Well, even him just suggesting it says he's on the right foot,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
His is quite intense. I also I don't know, did I expand on this? I didn't. Okay, we'll do it here. So, yes, his ideal week is pretty hardcore. So it's probably actually like yours. So there is no dead time in his diary.
Yeah.
It is, Monday 9 till 10, I don't know, podcast writing,
Yeah.
10 till 11 client meetings, 11 till 12 client meetings,
Love it.
till
Love
1
it.
lunch, 1 till 2 gym. And there's no buffers. There's no 15 minutes where there's a gap to do anything. There's no half an hour, there's no dead time. So he looks at a diary with half an hour between meetings and goes, can't do anything useful with that time. Shouldn't be there. So he blocks every minute of his day with stuff.
But in that working time, is that back-to-back meetings or is he
Yeah,
allowing
back-to-back
himself to
meetings.
actual work? Where's he slotting
So
in
he would
work?
he would have his assistant do back-to-back meetings, but he
Mm,
probably wouldn't have them all day, although he might, because uh, I don't think he talked about doing entire meetings, but there was one day when he talked about recording something insane like 7 podcasts.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Because he was also talking about,
Sorry if you're listening.
but he also, and we love a theme day and task batching, right? If you're in mode for podcast recording, and after we've done this, I've got loads of intros and outros to record because I'm in podcast mode, right?
Yeah.
I've well almost got some makeup on and got the microphone
But
out and
seven's a lot. I get maybe two, but by the time you've done your notes and then typed up and editing and all that, that's sevens.
I think he was
Yes.
guesting on 7. I don't think they were all his. I'm not sure if that's easier or harder.
It's a lot of talking.
It's a lot of talking, and how can you remember what you said? Wouldn't you just forget? It's like doing a lot of interviews in one day. You can't remember what you said to who by the end of it.
It's like going to a press junkie for a movie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly like that. So, that's all good. But he doesn't have a half an hour, then a break. Now, obviously, we work with clients. Some clients
Mm,
prefer to have a gap between meetings,
yeah.
some don't. I don't want 7 back-to-back meetings, but
No.
I don't need a gap between meetings. I would rather go 9 till half 9, half 9 till 10, 10 till 10:30, 10:30 till 11, and then go deep work 11 till 1.
Yeah.
That would be my preferred method rather than 9, have half an hour's gap, 10, half, because I'm not going to do anything useful in those half an hours realistically. I'm going to go make a cup of tea. I'm going to faff about for a bit. Then it's going to be 20 minutes left. I'm not going to do anything in 20 minutes. So I
Yeah.
would rather have them in a.
Some people like 45-minute meeting and then 15 minutes at the end to write up notes and next actions. So
But
that hour's
also, I
taken.
think it depends what the meeting is. I don't think it's appropriate always to go bang one meeting, bang another meeting. If you're having maybe, I don't know, a difficult meeting with a member of staff about performance, or maybe it's a client complaint, or it's really hard. Just yes, a meeting is a meeting, but it's not. You can't context switch that fast. So yes, okay. In an ideal world, you'd have sales meeting, sales meeting, sales meeting, sales meeting, and then bosh, deep work, write some stuff. But actually, that's not how most people's lives work. And meetings are going to,
It
blend.
does depend business to business as well.
And it depends how your energy levels are, right? So I know I will prefer to do team meetings in the afternoon because I'm a morning person and I find team meetings quite energize me in the
Mm.
afternoon. But I'd rather have client meetings in the morning because I have to think a bit harder. So I don't mind being sociable in the afternoons, but I don't particularly want to have difficult conversations in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, if I was someone who found all social contact really exhausting, which some people do, they're going to need a breather between meetings, aren't they?
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, it is all different for everybody.
Yeah. So I think a blanket, you shouldn't have any dead time in your diary is like, well, that works for you, mate, but other people, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And the produce zone, obviously deep work done right. So protecting, as we all know, those nice, long, uninterrupted blocks of time for the work that is really important, whether that's strategy or relationships or creative stuff. That's the gold, basically. That's what you're
I was
trying to
about to say that is the gold
it's
standard. Yeah.
yep, it's what we work towards. Obviously, he talks about task batching. So, you've got a content day. Um, so you're not switching between brain modes. You might have a writing day. And yeah, he does kind of schedule. So yeah. And then he talks about the team, and we're going to like this bit for a bit, and then we're not going to like it so much. We're going to like it again. So, sorry, spoiler
You're
alert.
teasing.
Spoiler alert. Um, so hiring for the buyback. So who to hire first and why? Dan argues that most people get the order wrong. They hire a salesperson when they should hire an assistant. Your first hire should be someone to free up your time and not add to your workload. So he talks about 5 different types of hires and when to make each. And we're not going to go into all of those because there's 5, obviously. But the first one is important to us because it's what we
Yeah.
do, which is the personal assistant, right?
Yeah.
So he does a whole chapter on why a PA or EA or VA is almost certainly the right first hire. I knew I liked him.
Yes.
And in that chapter, he covers what to delegate, how to onboard them using his, videos and his playbooks. and how to stop doing stuff yourself out of habit or guilt. He is he does not pull punches. Does Martell.
Give us one.
It does not. And one of the best quotes in the book is, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant.
Oh,
Bitey, right? Bitey.
yeah.
Yeah. Like of course we know that, right? Um, he then goes into, oh well, and of course you can get somebody for 50p from the Philippines, so go into that rubbish.
No, that's a different podcast.
Well, and then digs himself even deeper into the hole of irritating me by saying you can call it an admin assistant, an EA, or a chief of staff. It's like, no, because they're all different jobs
Different, yeah.
and they're different levels, Dan. And you're not going to have an admin assistant taking on the same kind of tasks as a chief of staff.
No.
That's just not how it works. It's not the same job, mate. It's not the same job. You could call somebody a chief of staff and pay them an admin rate, but good luck getting them to, you know, be a strategic part of your business. Okay.
And
Good.
that surprises me that he doesn't understand that there are different roles for that industry or any industry. It's like
Yeah.
a salesperson. There's various different salespeople
Yeah.
and there's various different admin skills as well.
Yeah. It did somewhat baffle me because he clearly has A, an amazing relationship with his own EA, and B, obviously really values what she does.
That's great.
But he also, he's also going, oh, it's the same thing. It's like
But
a
he
chief
doesn't
of
understand her role.
no. A chief of
So,
staff is not going to sit and answer your emails for you or manage your diary. That's not the role.
no, they're going to come to those meetings with you.
Yes, and take decisions on your behalf and just do it.
Yeah.
Yes, interesting. Anyway, so sorry, Dan. That bit did not appreciate.
Sorry, Dan.
Sorry, Dan. But he does talk some good stuff about how to delegate stuff to an EA. The bit that made me go was somebody sort of pushed back and went, but well, they can't do it as well as I can do it. Or, what if they reply to a client email as me and the tone is wrong or they get something wrong? And he goes, 80% good and done is better than you doing 100%. It's like, oh.
Oh.
I mean, I hope for, yeah, I kind of get the principle, right? Um, but I would hope,
That's if you've not hired the right person.
well, or you've not trained them
And
properly or whatever. But
yeah,
even saying that, in any job, is there
any
anyone who has not bollocked something up once? Right?
it's called being human.
Exactly. Right. We've all, not only have we all done it ourselves, but we've all been around when our boss has done it and they've kind of had that gut churning moment and they've gone white and they've gone, I've just, and you go, what did you do? And then you kind of quietly go, oh, thank God it's not just me this happens to. So yeah, we've all done it, whatever that may be, right? Sending the wrong document to the wrong Bob because of autofill, and Bob from client A gets Bob from client B's financial reports or what, things happen.
So I can see why there's a few bits you like and a few bits you don't.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I liked his no nonsense approach. It was very much like, well, you can always find an excuse for stuff, but shut up. It's you can always find an excuse to do all the work yourself, but actually all that's going to happen is that you end up burnt out and your wife's going to leave you. And if that's what you want, well, great, fill your boots.
Yeah.
So I think there was
You
a
might
bit
have
of
a
that.
great title, but everybody around you's gone.
Yeah, yeah, you're making loads of money, but actually you're exhausted and you haven't seen a gym in 6 months and you're drinking like a fish and
Yeah.
you know it's
Or you're on your fourth wife.
yes, I haven't seen her in a fortnight because she could be doing
Exactly.
anything. Yeah, so there was a lot of kind of hard truths, I guess, in the of course you have the absolute choice to do none of this, but is what you're doing now working for you? If not,
Yeah.
think about it, right? But the end game of all of this is to build a team that runs without you.
Mhm.
So the tiers of hire, basically, I can't remember the order, but basically it's almost department by department, with the last
Mhm.
one being sort of leadership culture. At which point you've got a big business with, a head of operations and a head of marketing and a head of finance. You're talking big, big business, but it goes through the order in which to hire them. Um, But yes, he would talk about basically the idea being that you almost write yourself out of a job to a degree. So yeah. So thinking about handing stuff over, is it a trust thing? Is it a money thing, or is it a habit thing? I think
I
I've been
think it
guilty of all three of those at various points.
I think it's, yeah, I would definitely say trust and habit.
Yeah, habit's the really hard one, actually.
Mm.
Really hard because you go, oh, it's just quicker if I do it. I'm right here.
And
But
I
I
have that
know,
so many times with, when we have discovery calls and stuff with people, and you go, right, well, what are you looking at to hand over? And you go through a list and they go, oh, but I'm okay with that. And you're like, but you want to onboard a VA, giving them that task is quicker for them to do.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think trust is one of those things that you can't and shouldn't have overnight with somebody. It
Mm.
it's right that it takes time to build trust. There's levels. I fired a client after 2.5 weeks because she still wouldn't let me put the most basic phone call in her diary with somebody not the least bit important without checking with her. And I was like, this is ridiculous. If I can't even do that without your input 17 times, clearly this is not going to work.
Yeah, you've got to
So
ask yourself why was she worried or not allowing you to do that?
she was a nutter. I mean, the short answer, she was a nutter. It it it,
So
it was a
funny.
fairly painful 2 weeks, and in the same week, I got attacked by a swarm of wasps, and the wasps were less bad than her. That gives you a clue. So,
Oh,
yeah. Um, One of the few clients I've ever really kind of gone, why did I? Um,
did
but
you have a gut instinct before you started with her?
no, and I really should have. I think my gut instinct has improved over time, but
Hmm.
no, I didn't. I didn't really have vibes from her. I mean, I got them really quick when we started working together, right? I mean,
Mm.
really quick. So yeah. Ugh. But trust should take time to build, but you've got to give a little bit in the first, you've got to actually give somebody a task.
You've got to
Oh
give a
my God.
layer. There's layers of trust.
Layers. I remember one
And that
time,
top layer is
oh,
allowing someone to make a phone call.
phone call with somebody not very important in a big gap in your diary. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my funniest ones, I put an advert in my local village newsletter, not particularly because I thought I'd ever get any work from it, but they're struggling and it was 30 quid a year or something. I went, oh, go on then. Anyway, one day I had this bloke ring up and I was a bit like, hello. And he wanted somebody to help him categorize and um, sell his collection of, I think it was cigarette cards. It was something really
I
random.
wondered where this was going.
Yeah. So I rocked up to his house in the village with my laptop, and he's got boxes and boxes of these cards, and they've all got a different reference number, and it's all relatively easy. And basically he's going to sell them en masse on some collector's site. And I'm like, okay, so you just need a record of what's here, basically. You just need the reference number and the card name, or can't even remember what they are, but you had series, so maybe Guinness did a load and maybe Benson and Hedges and whatever. But I said, well, that's all you need is a spreadsheet. So I opened a spreadsheet and I said, look, can you just put the code here? And I just type in the code, type in the type. And then once that's all filled in with all of the cards, if you've got duplicates, you can add, there's two of those or there's three of those. And then you can upload that and send that to any collectors who want to look at the list of what you've got, and it'll be easy for them. So he had never heard of a spreadsheet before. He did talk about, gals in the typing pool in the old days in his office, typing away. Bless him, probably with a fag in their mouth because it was probably like the 1930s at this point. But he wanted to watch me. Oh no, was he wanted to watch me? He he basically sent me away with 5 cards to put into this spreadsheet, which took moments, right? But he just wanted to see if I could enter them, and I'm like, well, you didn't know what a spreadsheet was 10 minutes ago, so. I'm pretty sure that out of the two of us, I'm more competent at entering the data on a spreadsheet than you are, given you didn't know what a spreadsheet was. So yeah, I ended up taking this thing away and sending him a bill for like, oh, I don't know, the whole thing was like 30 quid. And then he was like, oh, I don't do bank payments. So we put a, and he said, can I give you a check? And I went, no, because I'm not going to the bank for 30 quid. So he put cash through my door and I'm like, well, okay, I'll transfer the money myself. This is just a nightmare.
Oh, word.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you just go, this is
Did you ever hear from him again?
no, luckily, thank God, he worked out that he had some teenager somewhere who he could bung money at to fill this thing in, which is a far.
What a character.
Oh, he had everything. He had a collection of gramophones, he had a collection of um clocks. I think his wife had a collection of owls, like not real owls, like stuffed owls. It was bonkers. The whole thing was bonkers. It was one of those, God, my job's interesting slash mad days in the VA world. So yeah.
You've
Anyway,
not forgotten it.
no. So where were we? That was very random, wasn't it?
Dan.
Very random. Um, yes, we were talking about trust and how he needed to me to prove I could type 5 cards into a
Mm.
spreadsheet. Yeah, so that was buy back your time. I I didn't dislike it. Was there much of wild notes that you haven't heard before? Probably not, I would say.
No,
No.
no.
Um, One thing we probably haven't covered is he actually does talk quite a bit about personal stuff and how it's really important to make time for personal things. I think that falls into his ideal week that you should actually put in there first, out for dinner with wife or kids play.
Yeah, and that's great that
Yeah.
you value your personal time,
Yeah.
and that is not a, thing that you're going to move. Everything else is going to go around it.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So it's about in thinking about your whole life holistically
Mm.
rather than just your work life. Um, um, but yeah, the book ends with a bit of a challenge, define what you're working towards, not just what you're working on.
Mhm.
And I'm going to wrap up with a teeny tiny quote, which is every minute spent on something draining was a minute stolen from the life I'm trying to build. Quite like that. I do like the fact that he talks about not just the money side of things, but actually the fact that you can very easily spend a lot of time doing work that doesn't excite you.
Well, I like the energy thing because
Yeah,
as I'm going into my 50s, I realize I have no energy whatsoever. And what energy I do have, I like to protect.
yeah, but also we go to work for a lot of time,
Mm.
and it's important to do stuff you enjoy. And he was
Yeah.
very interesting. So he's a coder by trade, right? That's how he got into software because he designed it, right? But obviously, it's not really appropriate for him to be doing the day-to-day
No.
whatever coding is. I don't understand writing symbols, whatever.
Mm.
Um, because he has coders, and they very gently told him to sod off when he went in and went, oh, well, you could do it this way, and why aren't you doing that way? It's like, go away. So what he describes is quite nice, and I really like this. And I was actually talking to Helen about this with AI the other day.
Mhm.
So he calls it the 80-10-10 rule. So, for example, I love writing content, right? I love writing. I do a lot of writing, whether it's writing a podcast script or writing a blog or a book or whatever it may be. Um, I wouldn't want to give up writing, but I realize it's quite a hard amount of time to factor in, particularly when I'm staring in the face of 12 articles that need doing. So what you would do is you use the first 10% of you to come up with the inspiration and the brainstorming and the genius. So in Dan's case, that would be the wow, well, we could, create this bit of technical wizardry
Yeah.
and it could do this, that, and bells and whistles and yada yada. So you put in the inspiration up front. 80% of the actual work is done by other people to
Mhm.
make your vision come to life. And then you come in and do the last 10% and add your zhuzh, tweak it, perfect it, make it feel like yours.
Put your stamp on things. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people do with AI, right? You
Yeah.
give it the prompts and the inspiration, it churns it out, and then you go back and go, oh, Claude, get a grip. That's clearly rubbish, and change it. Um, But if you think about, so he was talking about an author, and the name of the author was an author of fiction. Who was it? Oh, I can't remember. Some sort of thriller, a very famous author. And basically, this author delegated 80% of the writing of his novels to other people, to ghostwriters. So he would come up with the overall plot and the
Mm.
main characters and the kind of, the essence of it, because he had a bit of a formula. These aren't, it's not Jane Eyre, right? And then somebody else would go away and write 80% of it. Then he'd come back at the end and do the 10% just to make it feel like his. Meanwhile, he was off getting film deals, writing film scripts, doing the other side of things. And the other one he mentioned, Andy Warhol. I didn't know this. Andy Warhol basically hardly made any pictures himself. He took pictures that already existed and kind of trained a bunch of artists to reproduce them.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I mean, I suppose there are an awful lot of Campbell soup cans around, right? But no,
Yeah, there.
Andy Warhol the same, right? Technically, the idea was his. He did the first bit of finding the picture or what, or deciding on the image, and then he trained people to do the production of it, and then came in at the end
Right.
to. So yeah, there we go. So that's a good way, I think, of not
It
losing.
really is a good setup,
Yeah.
start to finish.
Well, of still getting to do the bit that you love, but
Yeah.
not having to do it all day, every day. So yeah, I quite like that. Anyway, we digressed. So thank you. Been lovely to see you as always.
Yes. And you.
Have a good rest of day.
Thank
And
you. The sun's
thanks for listening.
shining.
Oh, it is for now. It'll be hailing again in a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Speak to you later.
Bye.
Bye. So there we have it. Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. If today's episode has made you slightly uncomfortable about how you're spending your time, that's probably the point. Uh, do a little audit, work out what your buyback rate is, and start handing some things over. My first bit of outsourcing, based almost exactly on my buyback rate, was a cleaner. Right, it doesn't have to be work related. If you want to find out more, go and grab the book. The detail is worth it. We only are able to cover, skim the top really of books when we cover them on the podcast. And if you want to explore what actual support looks like in your business, then give us a call. That's what we're here for. I'm going to leave you with this quote from the book itself, because frankly, it is a winner for me, and I'm just going to say it to everybody. If you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. Until next time, I'm Kathy Soulsby, and this has been Productivity Nerd.